So for most of us, this should probably be a little easier than we had last week because you've touched on slope already. But now we're going to go straight to a formula, okay? There is a slope formula. We use this to find the slope between 2 points. And what that is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. You all did this last week. But now always remember to simplify your answers, okay? So you had it where you had a table of values or you had a real world situation. Well, let's go look if I just got 2 ordered pairs. That's all I'm going to be given. I want to find the slope. So if I look at my first one, I use my formula. I'm going to have 12 minus 8 divided by 3 minus negative 13. Notice how I wrote this. If I start with 12 on my top, meaning I'm going with my y2, on my bottom, I have to go with its x2. That's what it means. Does the order in which you write it matter? No, you could have started with the other ordered pair. But whatever you start with on top, you start with on the bottom, okay? So I like to rewrite it. When you have minus a negative, it really becomes a positive. But I caution you to do, and please, please, please do what I'm showing you here. It will help you understand the process, and it will help Mrs. Nell and I identify any mistakes, okay? So when I do 12 minus 8, I get 4. 3 plus 13 is 16. However, if you just say m equals 4/16, that's wrong. You have to simplify. I can divide both of them by 4. Therefore, my slope is 1/4. Remember, the variable m is what we use for slope, okay? So let's go look at number 2. I set up my formula. Notice this time I have minus a negative on top. Doesn't make a difference. Let's rewrite it with one sign. So 16 plus 12 is 28. 5 minus 19 is negative 14. But I can simplify there. I can divide both of them by 14. So notice what I did. Yes, your slope is 2 over negative 1. But what is 2 divided by negative 1? Negative 2. Okay? So that's how we can write it. If it's divisible, we can write it that way. Okay? Let's take a look at our next one. I would have 3 minus 9 and negative 10 minus negative 15. That gives me 3 minus 9 over negative 10 plus 15. So I'd end up with negative 6 over 5. I can't simplify that. I can't divide both of them by the same number. Do not write this on your paper. Do not make it a mixed number. Leave it as an improper fraction. That is my rise over my run. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, do not convert it to a mixed number. Do not make it a decimal. We would only do that if it was a real world application and I was trying to interpret something like money or amount of the rate of change. Okay, when we're talking about the rate at which it's changing, we're really looking at its cost per unit. Here, leave it. Do not change this. Okay, our last one. I have negative 4 minus 8 and 8 minus negative 1. I rewrite it as negative 4 divided by 8 plus 1. Negative 4 minus 8 is a negative 12 over 9. When I simplify that down, I can divide both of them by 3 to get negative 4/3. So it is nice and it will keep your work organized if you can rewrite your final answer. Don't just leave it within the work. I'm telling you, we're going to be building, so it's very important that you have an organized paper and an organized flow of work because we can identify where you're struggling. So I need you to try these 2 problems on your own using the slope formula. Okay. So sometimes when we do this, our formula is never going to change. It doesn't matter. But we're just going to end up with special cases. So if I set up my formula, you're going to notice something here. -4 minus -4. When I rewrite that, I get -4 plus 4, right? Okay, well, that gives me 0 divided by 6. Can I do 0 divided by 6? The answer is yes. It gives you 0. So the slope of this line is 0. Let's look here. When I set up my slope formula, okay, I put my y's on top and my x's on the bottom. When I actually go through and do this, I get -5/0. Ladies and gentlemen, your denominator cannot equal 0. We can't take something and divide it into 0 groups. So what we say is my slope is undefined, or you could say no slope. You can't say 0 because 0 is a slope, and that's when our numerator was 0. Okay? So remember, a 0 underneath means undefined, or you could write in no slope. Either way is fine. So let's go look at these. If we set up my first one, I have 8 minus -2, -9 minus -9. I'm going to rewrite it so that I get 10/0. Ladies and gentlemen, my slope is undefined. When I set my slope formula up over here, I'd have 1 minus 1 over 11 minus -4. So I get 0/15. Therefore, my slope is 0. Okay. Try these on your own. So sometimes we might be given a table. You don't have to go through and find the slope of every single thing. If they tell you that this is a line, if you know that this is a line, you can pick any 2 points and find the slope. You find the change in y, and then you find the change in x. So here's what we do. From 11 to 1, it was -10. But if you chose to do 1 to -9, it's also -10. But now look, if I did -9 to -14, that's -5. So hold on with me here. If I go do okay, so let's say my change is negative. But if I go do -6 to -2, that was a +4. -2 to 2 was also a +4. But 2 to 4, okay, that was a +2. Well, if I went with my first set of ordered pairs, -6, 11, and -2, 1, and I made my slope, right, -10/4, that simplifies to -5/2. Well, look at your bottom ordered pairs. Wasn't that -5/2? That's my point. It doesn't matter which 2 ordered pairs you pick. At the end of the day, as long as you simplify, okay, then you have your slope. So let's go look at 18. I can do it here too. Here was a +3. I could choose to go between these two, still a +3. Or I could have chosen these last two. I still have a +3. So no matter what, the change in my y is 3. Then I find the change in my x, and that was a +1. Here was a +1. Here was a +1. So I put it over 1. When I simplify, my slope is 3. So ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter which ones you pick. You could pick one pair, your friend could pick another. As long as you're simplifying your slope, you're going to end up with the same answer. So load your notes to Teams to get credit. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of you are not doing that. There is no late work, okay? And please ask if you don't understand something.